for some of you this will be boring, probably a good many of you, but a number have asked about the new office that I just moved into last week and what it was like. And they said they saw in one of my previous blogs some little knickknacks in the office, so they wondered what is it that I put in my office and why do I put it there. So I thought what we would do here, just for especially the folks back home, show you the new office, but also where we put some of the stuff that means the most to me. So when you come in the door, this is primarily what you're going to see. And it's a beautiful view out there. We'll get closer to it in a minute, of East Block and also some of Center Block and the old American Embassy. But as we start coming around, and not everything is up yet, but here's Jane's globe that she had when she was younger, so we brought that up there for obvious reasons. It was important. Of course, this is where we'll greet people, and we have a lot of ambassadors and other dignitaries that come in here, so it's a nice office for doing that. Up here you'll see one of the tapestries we brought back from Africa. It's actually being held up there by a cane, a Kenyan cane, and it serves as a curtain rod. There's one of Jane's pictures. Jane's a great artist, and she doesn't find enough time for it these days, so once retirement and everything else comes, hopefully she can get back to it. And this is another picture we've got on the other side. And this picture is an important one. It actually comes from a photograph. This is from when we took a book back to her home village to get baptized a number of years ago in 2005. This is when we actually found her sister Etienne, her twin sister. And there was a photograph taken, and then Jane drew a sketch from that. But even from there you can see how small Etienne is compared to a book, even though they're the same age, only separated by 7 minutes. But anyway, Etienne is now caught up and she's doing great. And you look in the corner here and we have some other African artifacts, and then also Jane's telescope that she's had for a lot of years. And we just thought it would be a good place to bring it on up here. And some other African art and other things. Snowshoes. I was in Quebec City many years ago with my daughter Kathy and Christy, and it was a very heavy snowy day, but anyway we ended up buying these snowshoes, and so I've always had them with me, so we hung them up where we're at. Out here you'll see there's the old American Embassy there, right down in front there, half of it in sun. There's East Block, as you can see, and there's Center Block just over there. We just catch the Senate side of it, but it's great and it's beautiful on a day like today when you can look way over there in the distance and see Quebec. And here's some of the other knickknacks. This is an old radio that Jane got for me when we were in California, and it's a very unique thing. The sound quality isn't great, but it's one that used to be taken on travels, and it was great. An old compass here and a clock. These have come. A couple of these things have come from the Red Sea, and some are 100 years old, and they come from some of the old slave ships or some of the other ships that used to plow the waters there. This is an old Dow model. Jane brought that home for me. I don't know how she did, but she kept the whole thing together, and after we'd been to Zanzibar together, because that had been a big part of the slave trade, she brought that for me, and I appreciate it. Jane just brought this back for me this time, and this is an old African record, and I don't know if any of you have seen Out of Africa. That's the album of it back there, but that's one of our favorite movies, and we always watch it when we go to Africa. But in it, Robert Redford and Meryl Streep play some Mozart for a bunch of monkeys way out in the savannah, and it's fascinating to watch. But I always loved that scene, so for some reason Jane just brought this back home for me just a couple of weeks ago. I don't know how she got that back home either, but I really, really appreciate it. Up here you'll see, we just hung this, but this is down here you'll see a card, official observer card for the Sudan referendum. This is the t-shirt that was being handed out to remind people to vote responsibly. And then also up here you will see the sample of the referendum itself. If you put your fingerprint in that circle where the hands are clasped, that means you wanted unity. If you put it where the hand is standing up looking like a stop sign, that means that you wanted independence or separation. And we now know that 99% of the people voted who could, and also 99% of that vote was for separation. So that's very interesting. Over here in this wall, we'll start here for a second, but these are two pictures of something that are actually just outside my window. This is part of the famous five, the women's statues that are just beside the Senate part of Center Block. Jane took these pictures, but I really liked them and I thought they were appropriate, and so one of the key of the five women that were there, she took that one, and then this one that focuses more on the hand coming out. And for some reason the idea of woman and woman's equality has really stuck with me from seeing those pictures. So I put them up. Here's my desk. Beautiful desk. It's wired into the floor, so if anybody tries to steal it or open the drawers, all sorts of alarms go off, so got to be careful of that. There's a picture I have up there of Jane and the kids when Jane got her award from Huron College. Of course, a clock, another one of those old compasses from the Red Sea, and then a Spitfire. My dad used to fly a Spitfire during World War II, so I brought one of those and keep it up there. Up here, you'll see my axe that the department gave me when I retired, when I became a politician after being on the department for almost 30 years. I appreciate it. A fellow named John Peter helped to get all that fixed up for me, and I appreciate it, and I hang it here with honor. Here's one of the ships off of Zanzibar, a fishing vessel. Banff is where I was brought up, and I love it. It's my favorite place on earth. Banff Springs Hotel I really, really love, but so I've kept that poster all through the years. This is very meaningful to Jane. This is from Israel. This is from the Holocaust Museum, and it spoke to us a lot while we were there, so we put it up. And of course, here's a picture of my Spitfire, and reminds me of Dad. My fire department uniform, and with my fedora that I wear here in the winter time, but I keep that uniform here with pride again. And then we come to the bookshelf just to conclude, and here you'll see the picture of Jane, and with one of the little kids that we had freed who was in slavery in Sudan. Now that's now from 2000, I think, the year 2000, so that's over 10 years ago now. Some more ships. This one here, this model, is actually supposed to be of an old slave ship that's coming over from Africa towards Zanzibar. A number of other knickknacks, some things from there. There's a little kettle thing there from Kuwait, some books and other things. And here's a very important shelf to me. These four here are my four older kids. At the top there you see Kathy Joy. To the right you see Christy. At the bottom is my son Jordan, and to the left is Kimberly. Picture of them again there. And of course this was taken by the London Free Press on the day after I got elected. I was just getting ready to head to Ottawa for the big convention that was there. I had to do the opening speech at it, but just before then we went to one of the parks, Gibbons Park in London, and they took that picture and put it in the paper, and so we've kept that ever since. Some books there. There's an old book there that's come from Eastern Europe, and then also an old Bible that was given to me as a gift. Over here you'll see Jane and I. When we were in Africa, I needed a shave, but anyway, there you go. Just some statues and other things here that I keep that I really like. Here you see some hippopotami. Jane brought that home for me as well. She's brought me home so much stuff. In there is a picture of a book with a book's herd with her goats and stuff that she has there. That's part of the projects we do for Sudan. Up there, my father's medals from World War II, and a picture of my father and my mother in very happy days. They both died now about 30 years ago, and I've always felt kind of disconnected, and so I always keep these things here to remind me of them. And then just some other pictures and knickknacks. And then up here you'll see, right after I got elected, Susan Delacourt from the Toronto Star did a story about the malaria that I've had, but also a story about the kids coming from Africa. So on the right there you'll see a book, but that's a Chen next to her and her brother Ater, who, that picture was taken in Africa. They had not yet arrived here when I was elected, so it changed everything after they arrived. But that's my office. And, you know, it's all full of knickknacks, but that's important to me. All these little things matter to us because we're away from home a lot. And I think lots of MPs want to keep these things and keep them around them just as reminders of their family and friends in home constituency. But the place is growing on me. I'm liking it more and more. I miss the old place, but this place I think is going to be just perfect for me.